After a long week of misfortunes, Cyril Desprez finally found something to smile about, as the Yamaha rider made the most of the Uyuni Salt Flats' breathtaking landscapes to claim his first stage win this year. In the car category, Nani Roma suffered 2 punctures on the road to Chile, costing him 9 minutes and reigniting Stefan Petterancel's hopes of landing a 6th Dakar win. The title race is all but over on the treacherous roads to Valparaiso. The best way to defend is to attack. Mark Comer did just that on Tuesday, reinforcing his top spot in the overall standings with near-perfect riding along the Pacific coast. His countryman Nani Roma opted for a more defensive stance, which proved to be unwise, as the Spaniard enabled Stefan Petterancel to gain ground for a 3rd consecutive day. Suspense is back on the Dakar. After a first week dominated by Nani Roma, following which the final win appeared to be a done deal, Stefan Petterancel was halfway through an unlikely comeback on Monday after snatching back another 8 minutes. And the Frenchman continued on his way to Iquique. The stage's 422km profile fits him perfectly, as a 3,400-metre drop means the first one to break loses. Master navigator and in front from the first checkpoint, the Mini driver secures the 3rd stage win this year on the shore of the Pacific. I know that psychologically Nani is in a position where he has a lot to lose. It's tougher to be in the lead than being the hunter. The race is blown wide open. Hoping to confirm his current good form, All-Attiyah secures 2nd place in this stage, with Roma reaching the Pacific just behind him. But the Qatari regains 9 minutes on his ex-rate teammate. So all in all, a bad day at the office for Nani Roma, who sees his lead on Petterancel decrease by more than 50%. Reaching Iquique 11 minutes and 38 seconds behind the Frenchman, the overall leader is more than ever under pressure. All is well for Mini, however, with Orlando Terranova making the top 5 for the 6th time in 9 stages so far. His consistency enables him to oust Genial Davide from the podium. A day to forget for Carlos Sainz as well. The Spaniard broke a suspension wishbone on kilometre 193. He'll nevertheless be back on the road tomorrow, far from the favourites. There is no room for dizziness in Calama on Tuesday morning. With an averaged 30% drop on the way to Iquique, the drivers were to be extra careful and the brakes more than busy. Comfortably ahead since stage 5 in this rally, Mark Comer isn't concerned by fear of heights. The KTM rider kept an eye on his rival Joan Barret-de-Bort, but an even closer one on the clock, before making a move in one of the long downhill portions of the Andes and showing once and for all who's in charge on this 2014 Dakar. This was a beautiful stage in the desert. I tried to catch up with Joan, who had left 2 minutes before me, and I managed to finish side by side with him, so it's been a good day overall. In the lead up to the 3rd waypoint, Joan Barret-de-Bort was also the first rider to reach the Chilean coastal city of Iquique, but not the fastest. On his Honda, JBB has to settle for 2nd best, 55 seconds adrift of Comer. After his prestigious win in Bolivia the previous day, Cyril Desprez finishes 3rd, bringing a French touch to the day's Hispanic podium. The Yamaha ace continues his comeback in the overall standings, climbing up to 8th, 15 minutes from the top 5. 5th in last year's edition of the Dakar, Juan Pedrero Garcia secures a well-earned 4th spot in Iquique and will be looking to claim a 2nd stage win in the next few days. 4 different manufacturers are represented in the top 4 places in today's stage. After years of supremacy on the Dakar, KTM is no longer the only fox in the henhouse. Nonetheless, Mark Comer is still in front in the overall standings, a long way ahead of Barret-de-Bort. 6th in this stage, Jordi Villadom's 3rd place is still under threat. In the car category, the Minis continue their demonstration with no less than 4 vehicles in the top 4 places. Petterancel is breathing down Nani Roma's neck in the overall standings, and the gap between both men is fading. Terranova and All-Attiyah are neck and neck in 3rd and 4th, whilst Genial Davide is down to 5th with the same time as All-Attiyah. The Qatari pays a hefty price for missing a waypoint last Friday between Salta and Tucumán, without which he would be in the lead today. The Andes mountain range is a significant obstacle to reach Chile, but by all means not impossible to surpass. 4,500 metres above sea level, with a lack of oxygen, Dakar contestants are often subject to mountain sickness, symptoms often enhanced under pressure. But more importantly, their engines also need all the oxygen they can get. When there isn't enough air and too much fuel in the engine will lose its power and its speed. To avoid that, we have pressure sensors on the bike that allow it to constantly change the amount of fuel in the engine depending on the altitude. Dunes, off-piste navigation, fesh, The more nostalgic fans will be able to reminisce about the African Dakar on Wednesday, with the 605km special stage between Antofagasta and El Salvador. In the meantime, here's our postcard footage from today's stage.